Would you like to learn how I made this 3D beading design? If yes, then let's get right into it.
Today we're going to be working on this beautiful beading design. And as you can see, it's a 3D beading. So I've gone ahead to draw the design I'm going to do already on this frame. I don't know, I kind of like to work on the inside of the frame rather than the outside, which is like this. So it was easy for me to draw on this end because now it's sitting flat, I can draw. But when I do this, it's kind of hard because it's going to be pushing the fabric. But if you want to do the best thing is to already get your things drawn already, get it drawn, and you are good to go. So I'm going to change it for the sake of those that might feel, oh, why are you doing it that way? And all of that. So my kind of frame is rubber and I can easily switch it any way I like. So I'm going to try to put this inside like this. But if you like to work like me, doing your designs on the inside, that's good. And if it's the other way around, that's also good. And if your design is going out of the frame, it's not a problem. You can always go ahead and do what you want. And all you have to do is just to reposition the frame.
So you keep moving your fabric around on the frame until you find a suitable position for your fabric so that your designs are well visible and you can easily work on it. So you keep dragging it on the sides just to ensure that it is tight enough for you to work on.
Just like so. And now it's like firm. Can you see? So the way you will know if your frame is well done is when you put something on it, you know, it's supposed to just stand. Let me try and put this on it. You see the way it's bouncing? That's when you know that you have done it so well. So it's supposed to bounce off this way. So also, in addition to the things we'll be using this bugle beads. This is the leftover from the other one that I did earlier. So we're going to be using these bugle beads right here. It's something like this. So it's like the twisted kind of bugle beads. We're also going to be using sand beads, just like so. Also, let me show you what I did here. So before I started at all, I tried to do some designs on this bigger frame because I was thinking, what approach should I use? Should I do the stopper or should I not? Let me see how it's going to look like. So this is how it is without the stopper. You realize that this one is only the thread you can see. The reason why I'm using white thread is for the tutorial purpose. But if you are doing yours on your main fabric or garment, whatever the situation is, you have to use a similar color to your bead or you use the invisible thread. And for this side, you will see that there are stoppers on it. These sand beads are used as stoppers on top of it. We'll also be using our beading needle. If you have the long needle, which is something like this, it's also okay, but it might be stressful because we're not doing fringe this time. So when you're doing fringe, this one will be very useful because it can pick a lot of beads at a time. So but for this tutorial, we're going to be using this very needle here, and of course your thread. I prefer threads like this in some cases, and in other cases I can decide to use the transparent needle, thread, especially if I can't find the right shade of thread for my bead or my fabric. In case you're unable to get this kind of bugle bead, you can as well go for the normal bugle beads that are mostly common in the market, and it's something like this. I hope you can see it. So the ones that are commonly used for small sizes of fringe, you can use this as well. So the only difference will be that when you use, the bigger the size of your bugle bead, the bigger the size of your sand bead. If you are using a smaller size of bugle bead, then your sand bead will also be small in size. So having said that, let's move right into the
So
tutorial.
you're going to go ahead to draw your design. It can be any design of your choice, but I chose to do a rose. First, we're going to be practicing on this bigger frame.
Okay, so we're going to be using this bigger frame, and as you can see, it's kind of loose. Let's do the test on this. It's not really bouncing like that. So the fabric is kind of loose. So what we do is we tighten it by stretching out the fabric carefully, just like we did. Yes, I think it's firm enough now. Oh, you can see the difference. So now you realize that I have beads on my fingers like this. It's just for the ease of it because I currently don't have my beading plate here, and I don't have my beading mat as well. So, and I wouldn't want anything to stop me from doing what I want to do. So work has to go on. Okay, so we are going to start. This design is called ladder stitch. Okay, so you go under your frame like this, come out of it. Be careful so that your thread doesn't get tangled together, because especially if you are using a long line. So you go just a tiny little bit behind it. The thing is, if you look at this, the way I've knotted it, the knot is really small. The knot is really small. And if you try to make the knot bigger, it's going to affect the neatness of your work. So it's best you make your knot very small. So when you come out of the other side, what we are going to do is we are going to get this hooked. Be careful so it doesn't go completely. Well, if it does, you can always pull it back. So you are going to go in between it, just like this. Can you see? Like this. This is the knot right here. This is the knot right here. Then you go inside it, just like so, just to secure it. So this way it's going to get secured even better. Then you're going to go, just be sure that you are going right beside where your first line is or behind it. So you pull that out and then your knot is well secured. You're then going to start with one bugle bead and one sand bead. Then another bugle bead will follow, just like so. One bugle bead, one sand bead, and one bugle bead. So I already know the size of my bugle bead. It's going to take between here and here for one, and then here for the second one. So I'm going to go through this. That's about 5 millimeters or 7 millimeters. So this is what we have here. Then I'm going to come out right inside it. Can you see? Inside the second bugle bead. Then I'll go up. Oops, my needle is knotted. My thread is knotted. So this is why I said you should be very careful. Don't make your thread too long and don't make it too short so that you now have plenty knots on your work. So in order to secure these first two beads, because they are going to determine how strong the other ones are going to be, so I'm going to then go inside the sand bead and then come back down the first bugle bead, just like this, just like this. You see it is well secured now. Then I'll make sure I pull it well. So I'm going to gauge where the third bugle bead is going to come out from. And if you can see my needle, this is where it is coming out from. Then you go like that. That's if you are using the stopper. The sand bead, like I said, is working as the stopper right here. I hope you can see it, just right here. Then you take another bugle bead, one bugle bead, and one sand bead, like that. Then you go into the second bugle bead like this to place it. You can use your hand to control the position of the beads so that you get your desired results. Then you go again into the next to place the next bugle bead. So what we just did now is all you have to continue to do. You see, I think I'm going against my words using a very long thread. Well, if you can work with it, that is fine. But if you cannot, you just be sure that you work with the right amount of thread that you can use so that your work is not slow. Okay, so I'm trying to guide the needle. So if you look at the back of this, realize that this is coming in the middle right there. So we are going to place the next one just like so. Place it into the last bugle bead that we added, and then we continue just like that. So I'm trying to guide a bead. Be sure that the space is not too much, because when the space is too much, it's going to affect how it looks. And if it is too close, it's also going to affect it. So it depends on the results. If you look at these ones, they are like pretty close, very, very close. And you see they are standing like a wall. But if you want some kind of dimensions, like you can see how these scanty ones look like, right? So anyhow you like it, just be sure that you don't use too much space in between. So in order for you to avoid what is happening to me right now on the thread, what you just have to do is to use your hand to guide the thread as it is going down. Okay, so can you see that? The same thing applies if you're not going to be using the stopper. All you just have to do is, you can see this, you see these sand beads on top are the stoppers. So if you're not going to be using the stopper, just like what we have here, it's the same process. All you have to do is just skip adding the sand bead. So what will you do? You use only the bugle bead, just like this. Then you go into the last bead, the last bugle bead. You see, then you try to follow the line that you've drawn, and that's how you maintain the shape of the design you've drawn. Can you see? Add the next one. Come out from the side, the last one, and then you'll add your yoga bead. And then there's a way I'm trying to push, in case I realize that I've gone a little off the line I've drawn, there's a way I try to push it back. So by the time I'm going back into the last bead that I feel I've made a mistake by making it go a little off, I try to push it back or just close to the line where it's supposed to be. Then I'm going to continue. Then I'm going to continue just like that till I am done filling up the whole design, the whole line that I've drawn. So like I said, if you don't want to have the same issues that I'm having right now, don't use a thread. Don't do a threading that is too long on your needle. I can actually work with this, but because I'm trying to remove my hand from the frame so that you guys can see, that's why I'm having these issues. But you don't have to behind camera. You don't have to go through the same thing. So just guide this like this. Guide the thread. The best thing is if you have a frame holder, that way you can move your hand any way you want. So I'm going to be stopping here. Can you see? Now we have the ones with the stopper and the ones without the stopper. And that is how you go about it. So you can feel free to draw any design that you want and then you bead it all up. So when we look back at this, you realize that you can see the lines. You can see the lines of my pencil that I used to draw the design around here. Yes, just like so. You can see the pencil. You see, that's the back of it, and this is the front. So that's just how you go round, 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 and that is the end of it. So you guys should try your own beading design and tag me, post it, or send your beautiful designs to me. Let me see what you have done. And if you have any questions or any tutorial requests, you can just put it down there in the comment section. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much. Until I see you in another exciting tutorial. Bye bye.